Now, since President Muhammad Buhari's directive to his cabinet members seeking elective positions to resign on or before the 16th of May, there has been a gale of ministerial resignations. First to bow out of office was the Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajeba, who is seeking to become Nigeria's next president under the platform of the All Progressives Congress. That move was swiftly followed by the Minister of Science and Technology, Bunaya Onu, and then came in the resignation of the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio. Minister for Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, has also turned in his resignation, bringing the number of ministers who have resigned so far to 4. All the ministers who have stepped down are seeking to clinch the All Progressives Congress presidential ticket ahead of the 2023 general election. There have been growing calls for the ministers and other political parties or political appointees seeking elective office to resign. So let's talk this through by speaking with, having more perspectives on this issue, by speaking with public affairs analyst Daniel Akinlami. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Breakfast. Good to see you. Well, what do you make of the president's directive to all of the, ministers who are seeking elective positions? And the deadline is before May the 16th.
Well, I think this is very commendable, though it came a bit late, because quite a lot of Nigerians are worried about the shenanigans that unfolded from different agencies and parastatal, and which we have several ministers also involved. And the most embarrassing of this whole show and drama is the one that has to do with the governor of the central bank. So him coming to give that order really brought some level of sanity to this whole government political appointees running for election. But I think beyond this, it's also instructive. Those who hold political offices, especially those who are appointed, should live up to the moral demand of their responsibility as those who are serving the country. You don't need to get to the point that you'll be pushed before you do the right thing. Our people must begin to learn how to do the right thing. Now, we have a culture now in Nigeria that people take the citizens for granted. The level of impunity has gone too high. Now, among these people that just resigned, there is a minister of state that stood out. That's the Minister of State for Education, Emeka Nwajeba, which turned in his own resignation before that order came. Yeah. So I think we should have men and women of good conscience in leadership. What we have right now is distasteful. These are not leaders that we can beat our chests and say that should be taking charge in the aim of affair of this country in the future. Because if things are this, you could not stand up, even with the barest minimum of integrity, to do the right thing without being forced to. So there's a lot to ask that. What are they actually bringing on the table? If there are circumstances like this surrounding their aspiration, these are the people that are the front runners right now that are contesting for the highest office in the land. And simple decisions as respecting the wishes of Nigerians, respecting the office you occupy. Now look at a minister that is also negotiating with ASU. A divided attention is also running. He has to meet delegates in different parts of the country, and he will still go and attend. No, it's a divided focus. He needs to let go. Let somebody that is fully focused be in charge. Either it's going to be the permanent secretary or the minister of state in that ministry to take charge. So it came at the right time, and I think we should commend the president on that.
But even on that, questions arose as to why it even took the president that long time for him to have actually told them to resign. What could he have been thinking before now?
This is part of the issue that some of us have with President Buhari. Is lackadaisical attitude to some of these urgent national issue.
It may probably not be lackadaisical. It probably be calculative. Maybe
it has not become culture. It has become his own style now. It started with his government in 2015. That it took him almost 6 months to appoint ministers. And there are many of these issues that they take the front burner in the media. People are talking, everybody responding to those issues. These are serious national issues. This is not the first. But we don't hear anything from the federal government. Sometimes federal government will just look away. And the silence sometimes encourage some of these actors. And sometimes you will now wonder, do we really have government? This issue of ministers contesting and not willing to resign, or head of parastatals and agency jumping into the election foray, including the CBN governor, is not the first to raise eyebrow. So we need to also hold government more. The pressure must always be on government when the right things are not done at the right time.
Anyway, so many conversations around the fact that this looks like the prevailing circumstances are kind of testing our laws. So how strong do you think, or how strong and effective do you think our laws are becoming, looking at the Constitution and the electoral laws in this regard?
Well, oftentimes we say we need strong democratic institutions. We need new laws, we need new this and executive order and all of those things. But there's one factor that is important that we always ignore. That is the willpower, the political willpower of whoever sits at the helm of affairs. So the willpower of the presidency is at question in most of these instances that you have seen in the media in the past few years. Now, look at some of the recommendations that came out of APC's reform committee on the that's on the idea of reforming the country. And then for some of those who were having agitation before they came into power, those were asking for new constitution, those were asking for referendum. Then the El-Rufai committee came. They made fantastic recommendations to the federal government. How many of those recommendations have been implemented right now? There's state policing there. There are several recommendations that would have brought some level of progress to what we have right now. Then apart from that, look at the drama that happened around the Electoral Act amendment. For almost 4 or 5 times, it was turned down by the presidency, until this recent one that was signed by the president earlier this year. So we have all these issues. So it comes to question the political will, the interest, the passion, the determination of those who are in the presidency to see through that we truly have genuine reform that will make better well governed, that will improve on the security, improve on the general well-being, even improve on the economy. So we have a long way to go. And, no matter how we go around this, the ball stops. The buck stops on the table of the president.
Well, I'm wondering how someone, looking at those who are supposed to resign, who are not resigning, but still gunning for different political ambitions, and I'm wondering how someone would purchase the form as much as 100 million naira and not willing to relinquish their position, and still they want to, get into the ambition. They want to realize that ambition. Would you say that they are not sure of their own, they're not confident in what they are gunning for?
Well, I think the issue is the fact that when you give people an inch, don't be surprised they will go further into maybe a feet or even longer. So if you see a situation and you don't address it and you allow people to roam free, they will take advantage of that situation. That's what we're seeing. In the Senate climb, when people occupy position, sensitive position, like being a governor of a central bank, and you are nursing ambition, you are now becoming partisan. You don't need anybody to tell you to resign. We have seen instances of people who occupy high positions in the past that also resigned in this country. There was a former deputy governor that contested in Oyo State. He resigned from CBN to go and contest. But this era, this season, this political season we have has really, brought in all sort of shenanigans at the highest level. When you see public office holder openly, brazenly, displaying some sort of character that devoid of integrity.
Right. As a matter of fact, persons like the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, who you made reference to a little earlier, said that he's not in a hurry to quit his appointment. He wanted to consult with the president and as well as his constituents. Is there something? Is that to say that they're not sure of what they want to do, or is there something they know that we are not aware of?
This is like a case of wanting to eat your cake,
But at the same time,
and still have it at the same time. So it's quite unfortunate that this did drag to this point before the president decided, to call the shots. But if we look at it critically, there are many of them who knew they would not win this primary. And I don't know for what purpose or what reason why they jump into the race. When you knew inside you that you don't stand a chance to win at the primary, and you are still calculating that when the primary is done, perhaps you should be able to retain your job and return to your seat. And some of them are also using the position, the election, to campaign for vice presidency slots. So there are several
different kind
permutations,
of bargains to achieve.
Yes, within the political space. But there is also speculation that this order was actually meant to be a sack.
Yes, I was going to ask you that.
Yes,
so do you think the president would rather have sacked them rather than advising them to
even
resign?
Though there is no evidence to back this up, but the speculation is out there that it was meant to be a sack for all of them who have picked the nomination for, and those who have declared their intent to run. But perhaps to give them a soft landing, that is why the president came up with the order. And we watch to see how many of them will turn in their letters today, apart from those who have resigned the past 1 or 2 days. And the deadline is Monday. So then from there, we'll be able to see if the president will actually apply the big stick.
Just like you said, since most of these appointees, aspirants, are between the devil and the deep blue sea, they are not sure of what they want to do. Exactly. So if they are not likely going to clinch that presidential ticket, is it possible for them to get back to their position?
And that is the most difficult thing now. From the body language of Mr. President's spokesman, both Femi Adesina and Gare Bashir, it seems that they've crossed the point of no return. Even if they want to withdraw from the race now, I'm not sure perhaps they can be exempted from this order, So, but we will watch to see if there will be something contrary to this postulation right now. But from the body language, it seems both those who have decided to go ahead and those who may want to withdraw are covered by this order to resign.
Just like the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, who met with the president, and when he came out, he said that because of the sensitive position he's holding and his ambition, he said something, and I quote, he said, "Let them have heart attack. It's good to have heart attack. I'm having a lot of fun." But the question is that even funny?
I actually think that statement is uncalled for at this moment. For goodness sake, if you are a public office holder, you should be very careful how you address the people of this country. You were put here to serve Nigeria, and you do not own Central Bank. One day, you'll be gone from that office. People should be very careful. Yes, people have expressed their dissatisfaction with his move, but it doesn't call for him, throwing that kind of statement back to the people through the press, But I think we'll watch and see what happens. There's tendency that is trying to clear himself from this mess and perhaps withdraw from the race. There's likelihood for that. But if he's going to...
How do you mean clear himself from this mess?
Yes, that move to see the president is very loaded. And even though there is no information about what transpired, but we could guess that he had to meet with the president to clarify with the president what has been going on, his own part of audit. Initially he denied that he didn't know anything about the collection of the form. Some farmers,
it's one of the ways, one of the games.
Yes, some farmers collected the form on his behalf. But funny indeed, he showed up. There was a case that came up at the court on his behalf too. I don't think the farmers actually...
That's why I'm worried when you said, he's going to see the president to clear himself.
I don't think the farmers actually took that case to court. So the situation around Emefiele were quite somehow controversial. And it's normal, somebody at his level, a high caliber public servant, he needs to see the president about this. So, but I believe if he wants to retain his job, he'll probably meet with the president to make a case that his hand is not involved in this, one-on-one. So, but if he wants to proceed, because according to the circular that we saw, his office was also copied. So he's expected to resign. So that's why I said earlier that Monday is not far for us to see, for those who did not follow this order and see what the government will do.
Also, with all of this said and done, INEC Commissioner Festus Okoye said that, well, the fact that Godwin Emefiele has ambition, whether he has ambition or not, it does not affect the sensitive materials that will be kept in the central bank, because the central bank is a bank, it's an institution on its own. The office of the governor of the central bank is also an office, so it does not have any direct or indirect impact on where they keep their sensitive materials. Does that resonate with you?
Well, I don't think we could probably see the end of this yet. In the next few days, we'll really see what the implication of all this will be. It may be too early to actually say. Even the INEC chairman addressed this question yesterday at the press meeting briefing they had. Yeah. And he said in the next few days, they will see the situation clearly. But they don't want to preempt anything for now. So I think this CBN governor situation is quite peculiar. We have not seen anything of this nature. Somebody of his caliber. And the office he occupy, to go partisan. And apart from the implication of the sensitive materials of INEC being kept at CBN, I see a situation where even when he leaves office, he will still probably going to face some challenges in prosecution.
That's the question, because the CBN has not published its annual report since 2018. It has never been like that since 2005. But since 2018, we've not seen any annual report. So it has been accused of serving as a piggy bank to the government on its own. Is the management of the Apex Bank trying to, do some cover-ups, or why would that Apex Bank would not publish annual reports?
We might not be able to pinpoint exactly the role of the CBN governor in all of this, or his performance.
It actually contravenes the law.
Yes, it does.
Governs the Apex Bank.
It claims that the available law allows him to be at the helm of affairs of CBN till a month to election. That's the aspect of the Constitution. That's a public servant. Yeah. But there is this electoral act now, which the appeal court has weighed on, and which is still valid, very valid now, based on the last judgment from the appeal court. So he has all the options before him. I know people are also bringing in the fact of his performance, the value of Naira right now compared to when he got in as the CBN governor, and then some of the things that you also mentioned, that they've not turned in the report of the CBN activity in the past 2 or 3 years. And then all those other issues are there. But on the merit of those ones, we may not be able to go left or right or say it's right here or wrong. But the most important thing is the partisanship. The moment the CBN governor decides to go partisan, there's a problem.
There's a problem. Anyway, we'll continue to monitor this event as they unfold. Thank you very kindly, Public Affairs Analyst Daniel Akinlami.
It's my pleasure.